Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa. Today I thought I would pop on and do a process video of making little birds. I love doing collaging, and most collages that I like to do have focal points. So I thought I would show you how I make these little birds as a focal point. And I'm using stamps that are probably extremely old in the junk journaling community. They've probably been around for many years. It's by Dina, these little birds. She has a bunch of mixed media stamps and of birds and of people and stuff like that. I purchased this. This was probably made at least 10, 15 years ago, but I'm just discovering them now. So I thought I would make some birds. And in my next video after this one, I'm going to show you a different way to make birds by hand drawing them and doing watercolor. But let's ease on into that first. Let's do some birds that don't require a ton of talent, because I don't think I have a ton of talent. I just try really hard. So this is a piece of junk mail that we got at my household, and I felt the paper. I'm like, wow, this is really nice paper. Let's use it. So this is the back part of the envelope. Here is the front part of the envelope. And we're going to go ahead and use this. So the first thing I'm going to do on some of these little birds, I want them to have some paper dimensional accents. So I'm just going to take little pieces of whatever. Well, really not whatever. This is just some old music paper, okay? I'm going to make little cutouts of that just to have some little texture dimensions, because we are going to paint on it. And I have some scraps paper here of some printouts I got on the internet once. I once did a video on making your own stickers, and I used these. That was a few years ago. If you ever want to see that video, you want to make some pretty stickers like for candles and stuff like that. I found this online. It was a free printable. I'm just going to use a little bit of this as an accent for the bird's body. Again, just kind of just ripping apart little pieces of paper. Then I just have a really crappy piece of paper right here that I did some coffee or tea dyeing. Let's rip this apart, and we can use this as some accents for the bird's body as well. And not all of them need any kind of accent, but I kind of like to do more than one dimension. I always find it much more interesting. So I think I can get like 3 or 4 birds, probably like 4 birds across. And I'm just going to take some Elmer's glue here. And I'm just really going to just start gluing it down. Gluing it down. So my focal points we are going to eventually cut out. This is kind of like a mass making of focal points. So, you know, if some of them don't turn out well, you can go experiment on another one and just have a lot of play at it. Not be so serious, right? So I realized sometimes that holds us back in art is the strive to be perfect, you know, perfection. And if you always strive for perfection, you might never be satisfied with what you make. It might stifle your creativity, and those are like killers in the art world, right? You start doubting yourself. You're like, oh, I don't have the right supplies, or I don't have the right paints, etc. You know, I still use a lot of my old watercolors just to use them up. I have the good stuff that I've bought in some boxes from Sketchbox, but I also, you know, use what's in my stash just to use it up. Because it's not like I'm using really nice watercolor paper. I'm not. I'm using junk mail. And junk mail, depending on the product, is just as good, right? Especially when you're just playing around and you maybe not want to use the good paper. You want to save the good paper to when you feel like you can do a better drawing, a better product. That's not to say don't use the good paper. Definitely use the good paper when you want to. I hope that makes sense. I'm just kind of rambling. I am not one to easily talk and craft at the same time. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm going to do one that's just totally plain. So let's get the stamps out. These are the birdies. I do have a few favorites. I have these two, my favorites, but we're going to use all of them and have a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So I hope everybody is doing well, by the way. It's been kind of a stressful climate, but we're not going to get into that, right? This is VersaFine Claire. This Nocturne. I love VersaFine inks because they don't smudge when you're doing watercolors. They just stay in place. It's a really good quality ink. Sometimes it does take a bit for it to dry, but other times it's not too bad. So we're going to go ahead and do this first bird. I think I have 8 here. We can do one of each on each row. There's my first one. And we'll do one more of this guy. Now to save time, I'm going to clean my stamps after I finish this video. So don't yell at me for not cleaning the stamps right away. I don't have my stuff here. And I use the stamps so often that sometimes I can't even get them clean after a while. It's just hard, and that's okay. Just like I've given up cleaning up my stamp pad. I'll try to clean it when I can, but if I can't, that's okay. I'm going to have to also check out some more the Wakely birds. I just love them. I think they're so cute. I don't know what it is about birds that I just love. And I'm going to do one without, I'm just going to do a plain one with nothing here to stamp in the middle. Put it over here. Ooh, that one came out crappy. Let's do another one somewhere else on this page. I don't think I like that one. Let's see, I can fit one right here. I'm sure it'll come out better. I actually stamp better when I'm standing up, so I just stood up. Okay. And let's get this little guy. I decided to not do voiceover because that's really time consuming, especially in the editing process. So I'm doing live talking and live crafting. I like how that came out. That came out very nice. And we'll do another one of this guy. Put him over here. I'm definitely into repurposing nice paper that I get in the mail. You wouldn't believe some of the paper I get. People trying to sell me all kinds of things. And they usually are printed on very, very, very nice paper, especially the envelopes. So I always take advantage of that and grab it when I can. Okay, I got one more birdie to stamp. Do right here. Good thing there's only 4 of them here. I think I'd be a little bit overwhelmed if I had more than 4 in this stamp set. And I'm going to do a little off center here because it'll just be easier when I cut it out. Okay. So these are the birds. And this is what I'm going to do some pretty things with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, stop the video, and I'll be right back. Hello, I am back. So I let everything dry very well. And now I am going to do just a really loose wash with watercolors. I'm going to be using some of my beam paints and some cheap watercolors. Because right now it's just easier for me to just get into the set and choose some colors because I'm going to keep this really kind of simple. I have 2 things of water, clean water, and I'm going to go ahead and start doing a really quick wash. So I try not to think too much about, perfection, because I like the watercolors to just play on their own and just know that the watercolors are actually going to dry a little bit lighter. And I'm just kind of trying to be whimsy and not precise. Because I find when the more precise that I am, the less fun and more critical I might feel about what I'm doing. So it doesn't have to be really neat, because we are going to come in and do a little bit of accents with some white pen, gold leaf, stuff like that. So I am going to do various shades on the birds and try to have their little personalities come out by themselves. Now this paper is not watercolor paper. It's actually kind of shiny, and I do like how the paint actually goes on here. It slides on really easily. It's a very flat paper, and why I like it is because when I cut these out to be focal points, the paper has a nice thickness to it. I love these beam paints. They actually have little shiny metallics in them. And also try to keep some of the white in there, because I think it's important to have white showing through. It makes a nice contrast. Okay, I know it doesn't look like much, but I am going to let everything dry, and then we're going to go back in and do some embellishments with stamps, some gold leaf, like gold leaf paint, and some white ink from this kind of pen. And I will see you in the next part of the video. Hello everybody, it's Lisa. I'm back. It's the next day. So these are the finished birds that I showed you at the beginning of the video, where I added some more detail into the individual bird, either with stamping, with painting, with a white gel pen. And that's what I'm going to try to achieve with this. This is what I stamped on camera yesterday and loosely painted it in. So this part of the video is just going to be pure decorating. I have some pens of various types to do the decorating. I really like to use gold leaf, so these two pens provide that. And I have other colors like blue and pink. I have the white gel pens in different sizes. The gel pens can be a little tricky because sometimes they clog. And I also have some Copic pens. I might also use some gold leaf paint that I often like to reach for. It just depends on what I'll be doing. And I also have some stamps. I have a little leaf print here, some more leaf prints here, and that's what we're going to do first, is do a little stamping before I do some coloring. I'm going to be using the Versify ink that I used yesterday. This does take a little bit to dry, so where I'm going to stamp now, I won't paint directly on it. I'm going to wait for it to dry, but I am going to do a little bit of stamping with this texture one right here of little dots. I did notice that the paper I used that was coffee and tea dyed type paper basically disappeared underneath the watercolor. You could never even tell it was coffee or tea dyed, which is okay. Live and learn. I mean, you can see one of the coffee dye spots right over here, but as far as the overall effect of the paper, it's kind of much diluted. I really love this textured stamp. It's one of my favorites. If you have any questions on where I get the stamps at, where you can find them, please let me know in the comments. I do like using this little stamp block as well. It just gives you more control when you're stamping a particular area. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little leaf pattern on some of the birds. And then start with some of the highlights with my pens. So normally I'm just going to show you what I'm doing, and you can grab your supplies and, you know, craft with me. And in this particular one, I'm just going to do some dots. See if I can get you down a little closer to what I'm doing, and that way you can see better. And if it doesn't show up, that's when I grab the trusty white pen, because the white really makes things pop. I hope you get a little bit of an idea of what I'm trying to show you. It's really relaxing to decorate these little birds and cut them out for later use for ephemera. I think every collage piece should have focal points, and instead of buying them, you could easily make your own with stamps or free-handed drawings. I'm going to go ahead and keep playing around with these little birds, and you're welcome to watch. I'm going to go back in with my beam paints and do a little bit of shading so I can make the outline a little bit more blurry and not so strong. And we'll see how it looks on a few of the birds. And then I'll decide whether I want to keep shading all the birds. But I'm just trying to do a little shading to kind of smooth out some of the edges of the stamping. I still want to leave the white part showing. I do like the white showing through the paper, but I kind of want to give a little bit of highlighting on the edges of the birds' bodies. So what I'm doing now is cutting this into sections because I find it easier to cut out each individual bird when I'm holding a smaller piece of paper. I've cut out these already and I think they came out so adorable, so cute. And I'm looking forward, oh, here's another little guy. I think this one is actually one of my favorite birds. I notice I'm gravitating towards the same bird, even though I used the other ones in the collection. I'm going to let this dry. I am probably going to decorate it a little bit more because I have to reach that point where I'm satisfied, right? Where I can say, okay, I stop. I'm done. And sometimes I have a problem with that. I just want to keep adding and adding and adding and adding. But this is what I like to do in my spare time. I don't know about you, but lately I am on a definite no buy kick, using what I have in my supplies and just going from there because I think I have too much stuff, to tell you the truth. So I've just been using what I have, and I know I can buy stuff like this, but let me tell you, it's a lot more satisfying to make your own. So thank you for joining me today. I so appreciate you watching, and it'd be so great if you can hit that subscribe button so you can watch some other videos I put on my channel. And I really enjoyed doing this little project. It is so easy, and it's a great way to break out your paints and get creative with these little whimsy birds. All right, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.